2026 won't be remembered for the rise of AI, but as the great liquidation of the middle class. While the static majority is currently paralyzed by the fear of being replaced, a silent elite of 30 million solopreneurs is architecting a $1.7 trillion shift in the global economy, driving GDP peaks of 5%. Technology is no longer your advantage, it's the baseline. If you're using 20th century logic, you're already obsolete. One focused person can now outperform an entire startup team if they know which skill to master. I've sat down with 5 surgical Silicon Valley minds to extract the exact blueprint for rebuilding from absolute zero. Today, I'm giving you the 6 laws of elite solopreneurship and my personal 30-day execution plan to dominate. This isn't motivation, it's a technical manual for the 1%. What is the number one financial roadblock stopping you from going solo right now? Let me know your age and your struggle in the comments. Point 1. The genetic spike and the tyranny of the average. The most pervasive lie in traditional education is the pursuit of the well-rounded individual. In the economy of 2026, being well-rounded is a death sentence. It is the hallmark of the average, the mediocre, and the replaceable. To command premium capital, you must identify what Samir Vasavada calls your genetic spike. Think of a light bulb versus a laser. A light bulb spreads energy across a room, providing general utility but zero cutting power. A laser concentrates that same amount of energy into a single millimeter, allowing it to cut through steel. Most people waste decades attempting to be light bulbs. They try to patch their weaknesses, trying to turn a 3 out of 10 into a 5. This is a catastrophic waste of biological resources. The elite focus exclusively on turning an 8 into a 12. Your genetic spike is the one area where your output is naturally 10 times higher than the effort you exert. It is the thing that makes your peers look at you with a mixture of confusion and awe. It is your unfair advantage. To find it, you must conduct a forensic audit of your social circle. Stop looking in the mirror. Your ego will lie to you. Start looking at the feedback loops of those you respect. Ask the builders around you, why do you come to me? What is the one complex problem I solve faster than anyone else? Their answers will inevitably converge on a single point of extreme competency. Whether it is high-stakes negotiation, the ability to synthesize complex product architectures, or raw storytelling power, that is your leverage. In the 2026 market, you must forget your weaknesses. If you are bad at accounting, hire an AI. If you are bad at organization, automate it. All market alpha, all generational wealth is the result of sticking to your genetic spike for a sustained period of time. Career compounding functions exactly like capital compounding. If you interrupt the process by jumping from niche to niche, you reset your interest to zero. You must choose one hill and decide to become the most dangerous person on it. Stop being a generalist. It is a camouflage for those afraid of being tested in the deep water. Look at your current skill set. If you had to bet your entire net worth on one single thing you are better at than 99% of the population, what is it? State your unfair advantage in the comments below. Let the community see who is in the room. Point 2. Niche infiltration and the surgical strike doctrine. Once you have identified your spike, the average person makes the mistake of looking for a big market. They see the ocean and jump in, only to be swallowed by the waves. The elite look for a painful, neglected niche. Yang Zhao, the mind behind Opus Clip, operates on a doctrine of extreme verticality. You do not build a product for everyone. You build a surgical solution for a very specific human workflow that is currently broken. In 2026, the era of the general software platform is over. Big tech has already won the war of broad utility. Your opportunity lies in the microscopic frictions they are too bloated to notice. This is the job to be done framework. You are not selling features, you are selling the removal of a specific recurring pain. Imagine a general surgeon versus a world-class neurosurgeon specializing in a rare brain tumor. The generalist is a commodity, the specialist is a god. Zhao suggests a 21-day infiltration phase. You do not start by coding. You start by observing the existing alternatives. What are people currently using to solve this problem? If they are using a messy Excel sheet, a manual process that takes 6 hours, or a mental workaround, that is your entry point. The tool of choice for the elite builder in 2026 is Cursor. It is not just an integrated development environment, it is a symbol of the democratization of technical power. If you have an engineering background, or even just the logic of one, you can now build a proof of concept in 48 hours that would have previously taken a team of 4 months to ship. But here is the critical distinction. The prototype is not the goal. The feedback loop is the goal. You must take your proof of concept to your ideal customer profile and ask one ruthless question: how much money would you pay right now to make this problem disappear? If the answer is vague, your niche is not deep enough. If they reach for their wallet before you finish the demo, you have found your empire. Point 3. The obsession moat and the CapEx warfare. We are living in an era of hyper-competition. Aravind Srinivas of Perplexity issued a warning that every aspiring builder must hear: if your idea is good, expect to be hunted. In the AI landscape, the cost of entry is high, but the cost of replication is low. Giant corporations with massive capital expenditure, or CapEx, are constantly looking for incremental revenue. They will copy your features, they will subsidize your product, they will try to bury you. Your only defense is not a patent or a secret algorithm, it is your obsession. Most people treat business as a whiteboard strategy. They look at a spreadsheet and decide a niche is profitable, but as soon as the market shifts or a competitor appears, they quit. They were tourists in that niche. The obsession mode is built when you care about a problem so deeply that you will continue to iterate long after it has ceased to be rational for anyone else. When a competitor copies your feature, they are doing it for a quarterly report. When you build, you are doing it because you cannot imagine a world where this problem remains unsolved. Depth is the ultimate hedge against AI. It takes years to become top-notch in any discipline, whether it is math, programming, or narrative design. AI can simulate the surface level of these skills, but it cannot simulate the deep intuitive leaps that come from 10,000 hours of obsession. If you want to survive 2026, you must go so deep into your chosen topic that you effectively become the world's leading authority on its nuances. The market does not pay for breadth anymore. It pays for the surgical precision that only comes from being obsessed. Point 4. The digital sovereignty of the front door. Before you can scale, you must establish your digital presence. In the world of elite finance and tech, credibility is the only currency that matters. You cannot build a billion-dollar reputation on a foundation of hyphens and random numbers. Your domain name is the front door of your empire. It is the first signal of whether you are a transient player or a permanent builder. This is why the 1% are moving toward .online domains. It is clean, it is intuitive, it signifies that you are active in the global digital marketplace. When a potential partner or high-value client looks at your URL, they are making a split-second judgment on your professionalism. An online domain does not just look better, it performs. With over 500 million monthly searches for the term online, these domains are engineered for visibility. Whether you are building a high-performance agency or a niche AI tool, your brand needs to look established from day one. Brands like True Performance Gear and legendary games like Minesweeper have already staked their claim here. For the visionaries watching this, you can secure your digital real estate for just 99 cents for the first year. Go to get.online Marina 6. Do not let a mediocre URL be the reason a high-ticket client clicks away. Secure your name, secure your brand, and let us return to the strategy. Point 5. The Shadow Commander Phase. The 776 Apprenticeship. There is a toxic trend in the solopreneur community that suggests you should never work for anyone else. This is a mistake born of ego, not logic. Daniel Priestley, a man who has scaled multiple 8-figure companies, argues that the fastest way to become a number 1 is to first be a world-class number 2. If you are a generalist in your early 20s, you do not have the commercial awareness to survive the 2026 market. You have passion, but you lack the scar tissue of real business. The 776 Apprenticeship is the elite solution. You find a business that generates 7 figures in revenue with 6 figures in profit, and you commit to staying shoulder to shoulder with the founder for at least 6 months. Why this specific size? Because in a billion-dollar corporation, you are a cog. You will never see how the founder thinks, how they handle a cash flow crisis, or how they negotiate a pivot. In a 7-figure business, you are in the room when the decisions are made. At this level, the founder is still an operator but has achieved escape velocity. They are the perfect bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Your goal in this phase is threefold. 1. Self-awareness. You discover your genetic spike in a high-pressure environment. 2. Commercial awareness. You see exactly how value is converted into profit. 3. Resource access. You inherit the founder's network of funders, talent, and strategies. You are bringing your AI expertise and your raw energy. They are bringing 30 years of business intuition. This is a high ROI exchange where you are essentially being paid to learn the blueprint of a successful company. Before you try to lead the army, you must first learn how the general thinks. Let's talk about the friction. Most people stay in the 9 to 5 not because they lack the skill, but because they are terrified of the silence that comes when you are the only one responsible for your paycheck. What is the single biggest fear holding you back from firing your boss and becoming a sovereign individual? Is it the lack of a safety net, or the fear of proving you weren't as good as you thought? Be honest. Vulnerability is the first step to power. Point 6. The ghost in the machine. Understanding tacit knowledge. As AI models become more sophisticated, they are training on everything we have ever written or filmed. This leads many to believe that all knowledge will eventually be commoditized. This is where Amjad Masad, the founder of Replete, identifies the ultimate competitive advantage: tacit knowledge. To understand tacit knowledge, you must understand the difference between reading a manual on how to ride a bike and actually riding one. No matter how many books you read, your body only learns the balance through the feeling of falling. That feeling is tacit knowledge. It is uncrawlable by any AI. In my world of storytelling and scriptwriting, we have a term called killing your darlings. It is the moment when you have spent 10 hours writing a beautiful paragraph, but you realize it slows down the rhythm of the entire video. A novice keeps it because they are proud of the work, and AI keeps it because it is technically correct. A master kills it because they have the tacit knowledge of the audience's heartbeat. They can feel the moment the viewer's attention begins to drift. AI is additive. It always wants to give you more. Human expertise is often subtractive. It knows what to remove. Your value in 2026 is your ability to take your years of embodied experience and imbue it into the AI tools you build. You are not just using an LLM, you are downloading your unique domain expertise into an agent. This is why a veteran YouTube creator will always build a better AI scriptwriter than a Silicon Valley engineer. The veteran has the tacit knowledge of what actually keeps a human eye glued to a screen. The winners of 2026 will be those who combine high-level resourcefulness with deep, specialized experience that an LLM cannot simulate because it hasn't lived. You must be the one who knows the secret handshakes of your industry. That is what makes your product irreplicable. We have analyzed the logic of the elite. Now we execute. If I were rebuilding from zero in 2026, I would not look for a broad idea. I would look for founder opportunity fit. I would audit my own origin story. I remember when I first started as an immigrant, I had a generic social media agency. I thought I had to do everything for everyone. I spent 18 months chasing $500 clients, working 80 hours a week, and failing to pay my rent on time. My failure wasn't a lack of effort, it was a lack of a spike. I was trying to be a light bulb in a room full of suns. It wasn't until I leaned into my specific perspective on international markets that my business achieved escape velocity. I had to fail at being everything to succeed at being the one. My 30-day sprint for you would look like this: Day 1 to 7, identification, isolate the genetic spike, use the 776 framework to find a mentor or a niche that aligns with your tacit knowledge. Day 8 to 21, prototyping. Use Cursor to build a surgical solution for a broken niche. Do not seek perfection, seek proof of pain. Day 22 to 30, validation. Run a high-intensity launch with one single KPI. Not likes, not followers, revenue or signed contracts. Ignore the noise, stop doom scrolling and start commanding your time. The market is getting flooded, but the demand for high-level human-led expertise is growing exponentially. The hard truth that no one wants to admit is that AI is not going to make everyone rich. It is going to create a massive wealth gap between the builders and the consumers. The tools are now so powerful that a single focused person can outproduce a legacy company of 50 people. This means the rewards for being at the top are going to be astronomical, but the punishment for being average will be total irrelevance. There is no middle ground left. If you have stayed until the end, it is because you recognize that the old rules are dead. You are the ones who will build the 2020s. If you are ready to accept this responsibility, comment the words "I am awake" below. This is our signal to see who is truly paying attention. If this manual provided value to your journey, please like and subscribe. We do not deal in hype, we deal in the mechanics of the 1%. Share this with one person you know who has the potential to be a sovereign individual but is currently trapped in a legacy mindset. For more tactical insights into how my team and I are scaling our own digital empires, join the private newsletter linked in the description. Now, do not just sit there. The window of opportunity for 2026 is already closing. Watch this next video on your screen to master the next skill in your progression. The era of the sovereign individual has begun. Go build.